Hello, hello, sweet honeybees. Welcome to the Electric Honey Pot, where energy is the nectar of life. My name is Autumn, and this whole project is about the human experience, the good, the bad, the ugly, and all of the magic that happens in between. I want to talk about my experiences with UFOs and extraterrestrials over the last year, especially. I saw my first UFO back in 2013, but over the last year, things have really ramped up. I've been hesitant to talk about this topic because I know that people on the internet can be cruel. I talk about it with people in person all the time, and people are really understanding and curious, and I've had others that have opened up about their experiences with me, but it's just on the internet, since you can talk anonymously and you're behind a screen, it tends to bring out the worst in people sometimes. But something happened last night, and I know that I need to talk about it. So let's just get into it. Last night, I wanted to go out and do something. I saw that there was a techno show going on with a DJ from Berlin. I was like, yeah, let's do it. It's been a minute since I've had some techno in my life. So as I'm driving up there, I'm looking at the stars in the sky. The sky is so clear and beautiful, and I'm just thinking about how I want to have another interaction with the star people. I love that the wind is picking up right now. I want to have another interaction with the star people, or I want to witness another UFO because it's been a minute since that's happened. I last had contact with my star family back in February. But I get to the show. I had a lot of fun. I danced really hard, completely sober. I didn't drink or anything. Towards the end of the show, I hit this point where I was just so deep in a trance, and I was just watching the lights as I was dancing and just feeling the beat. I started sensing beings within the lights, but I couldn't see them. I felt really euphoric. It felt like I had taken ecstasy without taking anything. And then when I got out to my car, my pupils were dilated, which I've noticed is something that's really common with me whenever I get into these heightened euphoric states, especially if I have tranced. Personally, I feel like this is due to DMT production within the pineal gland because I had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening last year. Anyway, as I'm driving home, like the street lights have halos and they're fractals and not like astigmatism or anything like that. And it went away about 10 minutes after I left. And then when I got home, I decided I was going to restart a dream journal, start a new dream journal, because last year I was doing a lot of shamanic work through dreams. I found out I'm on a shamanic life path while I was in a hypnagogic state. I'm clairaudient, and sometimes I directly hear spirit speaking to me. And not just in frequencies, sometimes it actually comes through as if like someone's talking to me. I started doing soul retrievals and interacting with like angels and deities and stuff in my dreams. And I began having dreams about extraterrestrials coming to Earth and making mass contact. Like in the first couple, it wasn't very good because the public perception of what's going to happen during contact was not great. So they ended up attacking us in my dreams. But then each dream, they got closer and closer, and public perception got more and more open-minded. And then by the last dream that I had last year about it, they full on landed, made mass contact, and it just completely changed the trajectory of humanity. And I spoke with a friend that had basically the exact same dream that I had. It took place in the exact same location and everything. And then the music festival that we dreamed it taking place at I quite literally witnessed multiple UFOs there last year, as well as a portal opening above the venue. And before I had even witnessed the portal opening, I had been talking to a stranger in the crowd about this, and he said that he knows that there's a portal in the forest. He witnessed it open once. And then the next day, I witnessed it open. Last night, I started this dream journal again because I have been having a hard time remembering my dreams when I usually have such vivid dreams. So I was like, I need to start a new journal. Well, I started my journal, and then I fell asleep with a shamanic dream stone between my hands. This little guy right here, which he looks like he has the eye of Horus. And it's wild because this was intuitively picked out for me by my last partner. And he didn't even recognize the Eye of Horus. I didn't recognize it until I got home. The funny thing about that is the story of Horus losing his eye. Horus's uncle killed his father, and then he took on his uncle to avenge his father and reclaim his inheritance, and he ends up losing his eye in the process. And then Thoth restores his eye, and then he gets his inheritance from his father. He gets his throne, but he also gets his spiritual inheritance. And my mom was murdered because of my gifts. I started having dreams that my uncle was involved with what happened to my mom, and my mom's spirit visited me and led me further into this belief. And then I started reflecting and putting a bunch of pieces together, and I know my uncle is somehow involved. He has even accused me of being involved, which is projection. It's what narcissists do. But he stole my inheritance, but he can't steal my spiritual inheritance. My mom's murder is actually what activated my shamanic gifts to begin with. Well, I fell asleep with that stone in my palm last night with my Labrador right under my pillow. I was only asleep for about 3 hours, but I had the most vivid dream. I was working at like this department store, and I was miserable, and I was just like, I don't see how you guys can do this all the time. And it's so funny because I literally just got hired on the spot yesterday at a department store. As I'm leaving the department store, this woman's like talking about opals, and I'm like, I wear an opal ring. As I like show her my opal, it starts projecting out like this kaleidoscope of light from it. I go outside into this fenced in yard, and as I go outside, I see this UFO uncloaking itself as it's going to land. After it lands, the gate to the yard opens up. Extraterrestrials enter the yard with me, and I just start hearing the high-pitched ringing, which I hear in my waking life. It's clairaudience. I'm hearing frequencies, and they're like telepathically communicating with me, and I welcome them. Welcome, Star Family. I'm so happy you're here. I'm like, I'm ready to go home because I'm a Syrian. My soul originates from Sirius B. I feel homesick a lot. But as they pass through, they exit the yard, and the ringing stops. And then I see a bunch of like emergency officials enter the yard. They're passing through, they're trying to secure the area. And I just like laugh at them, and I sarcastically say, like, good luck convincing people that this isn't happening. And good luck convincing people that they're different from us, that they're out to get us. You know, they're just like people. There's benevolent and malevolent beings. It's all about balance and discernment. But they didn't try to contain me because they knew that they weren't going to be able to. They exited the yard, and then they pushed in a couple of people into the yard who were surprised that they were being rounded up. And I was like, did you guys see the ETs? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, did you communicate with them? And the woman goes, I heard this really high-pitched ringing, and I felt like they were trying to talk to me. Yeah, they're trying to communicate telepathically. It's clairaudience. Just really interesting. I woke up remembering everything in detail, and I was just smiling and I wrote it down. Opals are actually like transformative and reflecting. They're good for intuition and like emotional healing, and they can help enhance psychic abilities. It was a good dream. Mass contact's coming. Have you been contacted yet? Because mass contact is going to happen on an individual level to begin with, because like I said, the powers that have been are trying to control the narrative at the moment. So having these personal encounters is the best way to ease in. I've noticed more and more people are starting to talk about these things. More and more people are more open-minded about it. There's so much chaos in the world, and everybody's just kind of like, yes, aliens, please come take me. uh, but I want to talk about something that happened to me at Electric Forest last year. I actually saw one in the flesh. I'm pretty sure it was a Syrian. It felt like a Syrian. I was walking past one of the stages, and like there was a crowd, but it wasn't like super thick to where I would lose someone quickly. I saw this person walking towards me, and they were extremely tall and slender, and they had really high sharp cheekbones and a sharp chin, just sharp facial features. But then they had like larger eyes that were solid black, and they were shaped kind of like a cat's eye. Their skin was like this silvery kind of blue color. And then they had this really long, beautiful hair. And as they walked past me, I complimented their appearance. I was like, "You look so cool." Because I wish I could look like that. And they just kind of smirked at me and walked past me. And as soon as they walked past me, I turned to do a double take. Like they should have been right there. And they completely disappeared, like it never even happened. I know there are people out there that are going to think I'm just like schizophrenic or losing my mind, but I'm going to do a whole episode on that at some point, I feel like, because as I've had my awakening, I have learned that you're mentally ill because you're not supposed to fit into a society that is sick. Shamans in many cultures around the world display the same symptoms, the same characteristics as people that we diagnose like schizophrenia and psychosis here. But the thing is, they are in a culture where when those gifts start to appear, they have mentors to help them learn how to harness those gifts. There's a saying that the mystics and the shamans swim in the same waters that the schizophrenics and the psychotics drown. And it is so true. You know, I am in tune with reality, but I also understand that this reality is not the only reality, and that reality isn't even what it seems or what we have been told that it is. I mean, there's a spirit in absolutely everything, and everything in existence is spiritual. Think of it this way: your reality is different from my reality. My reality is different from a spider's reality. Spider's reality is different from a squirrel's reality. You know, what really is reality anyway? But yeah, I saw that being last year, and it was absolutely magical. And I've been so excited for it to continue happening. There's an insectoid species as well. The mantis people, and they started watching me last year around the same time my Moldavite arrived, which was very interesting. It just showed up on my porch, like I think the day before my Moldavite arrived in the mail. And then I didn't even know when my Moldavite was coming in the mail. And I went to the airport to pick up my friend. And after I picked her up, I was like, I think my Moldavite's arriving today. And then we get home and my Moldavite was in the mail. Just wild stuff. You know, things seem really dark right now, but it's always darkest before the dawn. Our solar cycle teaches us that, because the darkest part of the night is just before sunrise. We are coming out of the Kali Yuga period in Hinduism. You know, we're deep in Revelations right now. The resurrection is real, but it's not about a man coming back from the dead. It is about the awakening of the collective consciousness. I mean, according to Jesus in the Bible, which his real name was Yeshua, you know, you will perform even greater miracles than I have. Over the last year, I've had my thoughts manifest in a matter of minutes. I've had some things manifest instantly. There's synchronicities everywhere. I have even heard my dog's thoughts before, which was absolutely wild. It happened during the Sturgeon moon last August. So many wild things going on. Interesting times we live in. But yeah, if you have any stories, I would absolutely love to hear what you have been experiencing. Have you seen any UFOs? Have you had interactions with extraterrestrials yet? What are your spiritual experiences that you're having? Because we're all slowly waking up, and it's super exciting. We all have different experiences because we all live in our own universes. There's multiple different versions of us because we're all multi-dimensional beings, and we're experiencing itself from different perspectives and in multiple timelines. And timelines are currently collapsing as we're waking up to ourselves. I can see you existing within your universe. I can see you existing within your glass house, but I don't exactly know what's going on within your glass house, right? And I think it's really interesting. I love hearing people's stories and experiences and what it's been like for them and how it's happened. Curious things. Absolutely fascinating. Well, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening to me share and talk, and for having an open mind. For those of you that may be in the comments being an asshole, that's cool too. I get it. It's something that, you kind of have to experience it to understand it. We all get there in our own time. We all walk our own paths, and I'm just here to plant little seeds. I still love you. It's all love. Well, have a great day. Take care. Stay curious. I love you so much.